We'll start with a couple opening comments from Coach Klinsmann.
Well, I think we saw an entertaining game, a game that we pushed towards the end in order to win it, and the team really deserves a huge compliment because we could have taken it easy and saying, you know what, we are first anyway in the group, and a tie is fine, but a tie is not fine with us, and so the team pushed it, they grinded it until the last minute and deserved, you know, that goal. A beautiful combination there, and therefore obviously happy, you know, first place, 9 points, and you can see that there's a chemistry developing that is fun to watch.
We'll start right here with Grant Wall.
Jurgen, congratulations on the win. What does this say that Rex Shea and Sean Johnson were so heavily involved on the decisive sequence about maybe showing faith in a couple of guys who had some ups and downs in the U.S. jersey?
We're happy for them because they deserve opportunities, and a lot of young players coming through the ranks, you know, that we saw last year compete in the Olympic qualifiers, you know, having that disappointment, or even going younger to Tan Ramos group, you know, now they played in Turkey, you know, they tied the world champions, you know, they were in the group of death. So all these players, you know, we need to carefully build them and help them and support them when things go wrong, you know, when they have a bad game. And sooner or later it will pay off, you know? So when there's an opportunity like today, okay, there was not much at stake in terms of, you know, we were qualified, Costa Rica was qualified for the quarterfinals, but still giving them a taste of, you know, these type of battles, it's really important, even if it's just for 20 minutes or 25 minutes. You know? And especially Brad coming off that game in Salt Lake, you know, where a couple of balls slipped over his feet, you know, and he actually had a couple of very good moments there. 2 crosses that could have been easily 2 goals, you know, and then had bad moments. So we got to build them, keep on building them, giving them opportunities whenever possible, and making them understand that they only get better through a lot of work.
Jurgen, can you just talk about this chess match that went on today between the 2 teams? It seems like they had a pretty clear game plan and they executed it well and made it really tough for you guys. Talk about this kind of budding rivalry, and secondly, can you talk about Landon down at this tournament? He's really, you know, a lot of expectations about him coming in. What have you thought of just what he's been able to do so far this tournament?
No, it was pretty obvious, you know, starting the game, you know, they had a back 5 line, very compact, you know, didn't allow any space there to go through, that it will end up in a grind, it will end up in a battle, you know, and you gotta kind of win your 1-against-1 situations, you gotta sooner or later hope that there is an opening moment and then break through and score a goal. So we said it at halftime, you know, you gotta be patient there, you gotta keep working them, you gotta, you know, shift over to the other side whenever possible. I think Stuart Holden did that very well, you know, with a lot of diagonal balls, you know, taking them over, getting them tired, and they got tired eventually. And Landon is, you know, with his experience, so valuable then for us. You know, he can guide, you know, the front line there, first with Wando up front and then her coming in, and he was always communicating then with Alejandro and with Jose on both flanks. And the ball that he plays into Bragg is just a perfect ball. So his leadership in that moment is very, very important to the team, and he understands that moment. He's a player that understands also the importance of certain games. You know, now, as I said before, we can talk about there was nothing at stake in a certain way, but I made it clear to the team there's a lot at stake, you know, because it's Costa Rica. We want a benchmark, we talked about that before. And we want to send them a signal, we might meet them again, you know, in a tournament. And therefore, you know, it's one step at a time, but you know, things that we asked Landon to do, he did them.
Here in the middle, Leander.
You talked before the game back in Salt Lake City about being excited to play against a team that you could go eye to eye with. Were you disappointed with how many men Costa Rica kept on the ball?
I think it showed a lot when we got the lineup, you know, and obviously, you know, we had the previous games and we saw, you know, in Denver they played a back 5 already. That shows a lot of respect for us. And as we told the players, guys, you know, they they're making it very compact. They're gonna sit deep. They wanna counter break us, which they had opportunities to do that. You know, they have quality players that can always hurt you in a specific moment. But they're coming out of a very, very defensive-minded shape. So we gotta find ways. We gotta kind of move the ball quickly, and wait for those moments that they might do a mistake and open up some things, and it ends up in a lot of work. You know, so it's good that they have now 5 days until Sunday to recover from that game. But it was worth it to put the extra. To put the extra work in there, because it also builds the spirit, it builds the chemistry, you know, and they understand, you know, it's going to get only more difficult. Now in the knockout state, you can't make any mistakes. You know, you got to be sharp 90 minutes or maybe even longer. And I think, you know, if you look at our back line, and especially both center backs, you know, how they played this game today was just wonderful to see. You know, Michael Roscoe is there like a rock, and Clarence with his leadership pushing the line further up, you know, and not dropping deep. That helped a lot in the midfielders, you know, to get the balls in upper areas and not too deep. It's good.
Our next question will come from the front, Sam.
You're in two things. One, how would you describe the quality of the pass that Lennon played to Breck? And then second, what have you seen both riding the tournament from Stuart Holden, and how do you sort of evaluate where he's at?
Well, the pass was perfect. Other word to it. Wonderful ball into Breck, and Stuart is a work in progress. It is as simple as that. You know, we started with that, you know, after his season was over, you know, in England, and we had many talks, and we said we take it one day at a time. And he's just he's a workaholic. You know, he can't get enough, and so we got to build him, and that's what we're doing. You know. And I think today, going 90 minutes, and even in the last 10 minutes, still chasing down people, and it was great to see. It was just great to see, you know. So it gives us a very, very valuable option now in midfield, you know, and it can only help us now going forward. We are really glad about this process.
Right here in front.
Jurgen, Michael Parkhurst is someone that you've called up a lot, but he's had a real chance to show what he has in game situations. Can you just talk about what you've seen from him in the last few games?
I mean, we kind of observe, you know, and follow the players over longer stretches of time, and then we talk to them whenever they are in camp. You know, it's easier. You have them right there, and if they're not in camp, we still communicate with them and follow their situation in the club teams, and just we're there to help. And he had a very, very tough, you know, couple of months, because he made that big move into the Bundesliga and then couldn't play because he was, when he got there, was injured, and then somebody else took the spot and they didn't switch anymore. But he's a very smart player. How he reads the game, you know, his touch is a wonderful first touch. You know, he can chip the balls into dangerous areas over their backline or over their side, you know, and so every player there on this team has specific qualities, so it's our job as coaches now putting those qualities into a team context, and we are glad now that, you know, we were patient with him as well, and we carried him through, you know, the May-June period, and talked a lot, and just said, you know, you will see it's worth it, you know, and therefore performance like tonight.
This will have to be our last question. Kyle.
Hey, Jurgen, you have a very narrow window to make changes before the start of the quarterfinal phase. Have you contemplated what sort of changes you might make, and are there any considerations from outside in terms of clubs that might influence those decisions?
No, I mean, clubs, I'm in contact with the clubs already, but you gotta give me just a couple of more hours, you know, until tomorrow, because I want to first talk, obviously, to the players, you know, but we're gonna make some changes.
Thank you all very much. We will be
Thank
opening
you.
next time now. Thank you.